KBLA Talk 1580 delegation will be out in full force. So, join us this Saturday, July 15th, 12 to 6 p.m. in Leimert Park as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of Black Lives Matter. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I done plant my seeds, now I'm rooted. Brown skin popping, I'm rooted. Can pull the hood out me, I'm rooted. Rooted, nappy head, rooted.
America has a problem.
Heard you got that deep for me. Real love is deep for me. I'ma make you go weak for me. Make you wait a whole week for me. I see you watching.
It's Monday. You are checking in with RSVP with Jill Munroe on 1580 Talk KBLA. I hope that you had an amazing weekend. We are ready to get you lit, get you started with all the headlines. RSVP is the show where we go through the top headlines and trending topics in entertainment, sports, culture, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Jill Munroe. Thank you for checking us out. Tonight, we have a packed show. Not only do we have so much to talk about, so very much to talk about, we also have guests in studio. There's a new independent film, Kings of LA. We're going to be talking with one of the stars, William L. Johnson, and the director and creator, Van Elder. Also up for tonight, because, you know, we got to get you set up with the conversation starters. We're going to talk some more about Marcus Jordan and Larsa Pippen. Did they get married? Certainly sounds like it. Marcus is dropping some hints. Something's going on with the two of them. We're going to be discussing actor and author Hill Harper. He is running for state senate. We'll get into all of those details. We're also going to discuss Keke Palmer's revenge. I know you have been seeing all weekend long all of the conversation that has continued surrounding Keke and what happened at the Usher concert and her son's father's response to that. And all sorts of drama has ensued, and it's taken off into other avenues and topics. We're going to get into that. We're also going to talk a little Jonah Hill in relation to that. Jonah Hill, you know, super bad Jonah Hill. He was just in You People with Lauren London. He's been accused of being a little controlling and toxic. So we're going to get into that. We're also going to discuss Deion Sanders back with Nike. We're going to talk about Jamie Foxx. And was that really Jamie that we saw? There's been more sightings too. So we're going to get into that. And in the third hour, we're back on hip-hop. We're on hip-hop this week. You know, we've been going through the 50 greatest hip-hop groups of all time, according to Billboard. We're not going to finish that list tonight. But tonight we do have an interesting conversation, and it starts with Tony Yayo when he was on Drink Champs podcast, and he had some commentary. The commentary was regarding Biggie Smalls and Ice Cube. We have a comparison for them. So we're going to get into that. And then we also have a comparison of careers looking at Nelly and Future. These are Twitter topics because, you know, Black Twitter keeps it lit for now. We're going to talk about Threads, its competitor, and what's going down with him. All of that and more is coming up tonight. So I hope that you are locked in and ready, VIPs, because we have a lot to talk about. You are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin Ultra Strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Wendy's is open till midnight or later, so you can give in to the craving and go night mode. Now all of your favorite menu items just got their bedtime extended. You can get what you want even later, like the Baconator with 6 strips of bacon, or the perfect fries and frosty duo. If you're up later, then so are we. So go ahead and pull through the drive-thru. When the craving hits, go night mode at Wendy's. Open till midnight or later. All right, see ya later.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, hours may vary.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are checking out RSVP, where we give you the latest and trending topics and headlines, and we have a lot to discuss tonight. First up, we're going to talk a little bit about Larsa Pippen and Marcus Jordan. You know, I think at this point it's a bit of a troll, because after Jordan came out and said, you know, he wasn't really feeling the situation, that his oldest son is dating his ex-teammate's ex-wife. There's about a 16-year age gap. I don't know if we care about that. Everyone's grown. But just to put it out there, because I know somebody cares, somebody's interested. Those are the circumstances, the setup. So Larsa's birthday was last week, and Marcus sent her a shout out. And on her 49th birthday, he shared a snapshot. She actually shared a snapshot of the birthday note and the flowers that she received from Marcus and her 4 children. So it was a group thing. It was him and the babies. They're not babies. Scottie Jr.'s 22, Preston's 21. Justin's 18, Sophia's 14, and the note said, "Happy birthday to the best mom and wife on the planet." Now, whose wife is that? You know, Marcus? Did they sneak off, or are they just trolling? I mean, there's a lot happening here. We don't know. I don't think that there's been a marriage license discovered as of yet, but sounds like they're planning things. The two have a podcast together, and they were on Entertainment Tonight following up Jordan's TMZ moment, and they indicated that not only are they thinking about children, Larsa has a few embryos stashed that they are considering doing artificial insemination for, so there could be, in theory, Pippen, Jordan, half brothers and sisters running around, you know, related, step grandfather, all of that. Really complicated. I think it's a troll. I think that Marcus and Michael got some kind of secret, have some type of secret beef going on, and this is Marcus's way of getting back at him or something. I don't know. We have to see what turns up, but right now that's what's going on. They're promoting their podcast, so if you want to know more about what's going on with them, make sure to check them out, and we will always keep you updated on the moves, because after all, this is a clout chase relationship, and they're making moves that to be visible. So we're going to keep them visible, right? Right. All right, next up, I have guests tonight. As I told you, we have one of the stars and the creator, the director, writer, the creative entity behind Kings of LA. We're going to get into what that story is, how this project came together, and who else is in it. Kings of LA. Well, let me give you a little bit who else stars in it. Paula J. Parker, you know who Paula J is. You know her from The Proud Family, Friday, long career. Michael Parr. We've seen him in a lot of stuff. I'm going to ask Van to kind of give me some of his history. William, Darius Love. I know Darius, shout out to the Hamilton High School Yankees. Slink Johnson, Janelle Marie Rodriguez, and a bunch more. So we're going to get into that. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you.
So, William, we're going to start with you. Tell me a little bit about your character in Kings of LA and what the film is about.
Okay, I play a character named Sundown. Sundown is really for the neighborhood. He's really fighting for the community, getting the mayor to slow down the gentrification and different things like that. But it's like 3 or 4 different little things going on in the film that are very entertaining to the people. They'll like it.
So, well, okay, as a fan, right? Because you're saying for the people, you're obviously in it, but as a fan, what attracted you to the project?
My man right here, Van Elder, very great writer, director. He and I have been working together for a long time, and the things that I've worked on with him, the writing has always been very, very entertaining. He's a real cool writer. When y'all see this and see the different scenes, it's gonna be a lot of these scenes gonna be in a bunch of acting classes. I can tell you that.
Okay. Well, Van, let's talk a little bit about it. What was your inspiration for this film?
Well, I'm originally from LA by way of Compton, so I've always wanted,
County.
Yeah, LA County. Compton's its own little entity, but it actually is on the cusp of South Central LA. And I grew up around there, Watts and Linwood, and that whole little pocket of it, the city of LA, well, county of LA, and had a lot of roots to South Central. And I always wanted to do a project that was South Central LA centric, if that makes any sense. And
of course.
Then
represent for the home team.
Absolutely. I think in prior times John Singleton was the only one out here who was representing and kind of wearing his LA heart on his sleeve. So I kind of wanted to follow suit and give my own perspective. And it all originated from an idea of from when I turned 18. That was actually on the day of the 92 riots. And, I was a young kid becoming a man, and I just had all these crazy ideas, like what if South Central succeeded from the city of LA and kind of formed its own city. I felt it's time. I'm the product of the great Southern migration. My grandparents came here from the South, and I know what the conditions that they arrived to in LA, fleeing the Jim Crow system, but only coming out here to find out something was just a different type of kind of invisible and a little pronounced racism out here. And I know the conditions that they endured, and I kind of wanted to create this, universe in my own little head and tell this story of the city of South Central, which is rooted in fact, but it's also interwoven with some fictional elements. Obviously, it's not a municipal city that really exists in reality, but in my world or this cineverse, it does.
So, as a filmmaker, are there any films that you take inspiration from, or anybody that sort of inspired you to pick up a camera and want to be involved in this industry?
Well, ironically, I kind of was I'm literally raised in a movie theater when I was about 5 years old. I had young parents fresh out of high school. They had me. And oftentimes there wasn't a babysitter, so we lived near a movie theater. And I got, introduced to the staff, and they would watch me, and I would stay there all day and watch movies. So I'm an 80s baby, so this was early 80s. I'd probably say Walter Hill stuff. I was a big Eddie Murphy fan from 48 Hours on. All of the early action flicks, Stallone. Probably the most pivotal movie actually that had a mark on me. I always tell this story was An Officer and a Gentleman, which came out in '82.
Okay.
I don't know. It resonated with me as a young kid.
Yeah, that movie was powerful. It was a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Louis Gossett Jr. was in that. Deborah Winger.
Yeah,
fantastic movie. Okay. All right, William, what about you? What inspired you to get into entertainment, to be an actor? Where did that fire come from?
I'm originally from Gary, Indiana. I went to a performing arts school there in the city called Emerson.
Home of
and
Jay.
Oh yeah, yeah. The musical theater has always been, my major. It's been my thing. Did a lot of theater in Chicago before I moved here to LA. Just the whole entertainment game as a whole, because I also, I sing with a band from time to time here in LA. So, I like the whole game, the acting, the singing, the performing, the writing, the directing, the whole creative process,
When you jumped in, did you jump in actor first, or did you jump in as far as like on the creative side and then like, I look good in front of this camera, I can do this too? Like, what was your path?
You know what? I really came out here to pursue R&B. I wanted to be straight up crooner,
Are you serious?
Some Gerald Levert, that whole thing.
You were gonna give us love songs and all of that? You're gonna have all the girls screaming?
Yep,
okay.
Yep. But since musical theater was like my major, I just felt like I needed to, keep my skills polished up. So I took a couple of co-reading classes here, and then one thing led to another, and it just kind of took off.
So what would you say as far as inspirations for you? What was a pivotal on-screen, it could be a film, it could be an actor, it could be any of that for you that you were like, yep, this is my career choice?
I love it so much. I just can't pinpoint, one thing. It's a lot of projects that I've watched that have inspired me and helped me, become.
A few. You don't have to be one. Give us a few.
All right, I could say, I don't know, a lot of people may not remember, but I'm a big Billy D. Williams fan. So he had tight chops. Mahogany was one. I love that story.
Success is nothing.
Yep.
Without someone to share it with.
Yep. That's one. I love Robert De Niro. He has a lot of undertones that people. He's just the whole spectrum. He can make you laugh. He can make you mad. Larry Fishburne, I love, of course. It's so many. The list is long.
The list is long.
Denzel. What's the white lady name?
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. Bam.
Okay, there you go.
That
Bam.
one right there. Her. Because I can name black people all day. Angela Bassett.
So you have a varied palette, right?
Yeah,
You're not just limiting yourself. I appreciate that. So this is a question for both of you, but I'm going to start with Van. Van, people from LA are very particular about their neighborhoods, their areas, their accents. So when you were casting a movie that is based around LA, right? And it has that vibe. We look at things, there are some people who praise Damson Idris' portrayal on Snowfall, and there are others that are like, I can hear through it every time, all the time. I'm not asking you to critique that. I am just asking, when you're casting a film based in LA and you're thinking about things like that, do you look at the LA accent as part of it? Do you consider those type of things when you're working?
Absolutely.
Too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
Too much?
We've had these conversations before, specifically with that.
This
show.
is LA native talk right here. This is what it is.
It is, and I will, I wear LA on my sleeve and my heart, and we don't have a whole lot of representation out there. You know, when Spike does a movie in New York, who is he going to cast? When they do movies, when Scorsese does a movie, when they cast movies in Boston, you know, they cast Bostonians, you know. So it was a must. And me and William went back and forth over this because we wanted to obviously cast the best actors, but because of the target demographic that some of the characters were allocated towards, like his character he's not originally from LA. He came here. He's basically inspired by someone I know who came here from Chicago at 18.
Okay.
But
so he gets a pass?
He gets a pass, but he has taken LA on, you know, and he's been adopted by the city of LA. But some of the younger other cast members that we have definitely wanted to get some guys from the community, you know, and I knew that the challenges would be there because these are real authentic guys, and some of these characters are connected to the streets in the movie, but some of the cast members are connected to the streets as well. But, you know, I chose authenticity over the more refined actor for those particular roles. And then, of course, we have our veteran representation with William, Dwayne Finley, who's from L.A., Sling Johnson, Paula J. Parker. She's basically been adopted by L.A.
Yes, she has.
You know, a lot of people think she's from L.A., even though she's not.
I mean, what she did in Friday, swinging the Dookie braids, you know,
exactly.
Iconic, classic.
Yeah, so, yeah, definitely I had to stay true to my roots and, you know, definitely represent, because I knew the city would be watching. And any misstep in the casting, we were going to be called out on it, so I didn't want to have that happen. And I casted a few more other guys who are from L.A., a couple other rappers and a couple other people from the city from different neighborhoods.
I'm representing Compton tonight. Did not know that you were from Compton, but
Absolutely.
Compton represent easy on my
Compton's
shirt.
in the house.
Okay, William, what did you have problems with as far as your LA accent? I
didn't have any problems with my accent because my character was his own individual, an evolved man. You know what I'm saying? But you know, as far as having the authentication of the movie, Van really wanted to hire real guys from, you know, the community, like he said. And I felt like, you know, for the job, what they did on the film, I think they did a good job.
Yeah.
Okay, we love that because we always got it. Like I said, LA natives, I'm serious about mine. I come through, I represent, so I appreciate that. Right. So let me ask you this. You did this independently. We were having a little conversation in the green room, and you were suggesting to one of our friends that they need to go ahead and take care of it themselves, like for their project. We won't get into that, but what is it like taking on that independent journey as far as filmmaking? You know, what does it take? Because most people don't know, and especially in this era where people think they can just pick up their cell phone, and they can. You can create some content, but not like what you're doing, obviously. Right. What is that path to independent filmmaking?
Well, it's a fine line between wanting to just create and get your ideas out, but also having a product that's broadcast ready, and that, you know, competes with other projects as well. And that's what we wanted to do. We really didn't want to compromise on our visions, so. This was a project that took over 10 years to get made. So it was calculated. And I know when I wanted to step out and execute this one, because, I mean, if I didn't do this one right, then, you know, in my head, you know, it could be over. You know what I'm saying? I'm finally, it's the culmination of my career. I'm making the movie that I've been dreaming of making for at least 30 years now. So I had to do it right. You know, with the technology and advancement, I come from the analog age. You know, you had to have certain resources and funds to get out there and make a film. My first 6 films were shot on 35 millimeter, which is, it would, I mean, for those that know, it's a costly process. You pay
no retakes.
Yeah, no retakes.
You got to
one
get
take.
it.
Yeah, some of my early actors will tell you might
Big
get
time.
one, maybe two takes.
Yeah, that's it.
And $700 for 10 minutes of film. But now you have the advent of technology. You're carrying studios in your phone in your pockets, but also you still want to have a certain amount of resources to be able to execute a project and deliver something that's ready to compete in the marketplace as well. I mean, we have many platforms these days that are forgiving as long as the story is there. So it's a fine line.
Okay, so William, you are currently, I heard you mention, on the Black Hamptons, as well as you have this. What is sort of the difference between working on a project for a streamer per se, something that is on a regular, not terrestrial, that's radio, linear network, and then working on an independent feature? What is the difference for you as not just an actor, but also as a creative?
Well, when you're working on a series, you're working on like say 8 episodes, 12 episodes, so you have an arc. So it's good when they give you like 4 or 5 scripts at a time, so you can kind of see where your character is going, so you can kind of develop those things. This is my first series, so that's what I'm noticing about it. When you're doing the film, character breakdown is character breakdown. I do them both the same. It's just different. One is just television, and one is just a film. One you may work every single day, and one you may work 3-4 days here and there. It kind of depends on the schedule and the arc and the character of it. But they're both pretty much the same. But doing a play is what's different. Doing theater, that's a whole nother thing.
Okay, well, when we come forward, we're going to talk to William a little bit about doing theater. We're going to talk to Van about some more of his projects, and we're also going to make sure that we find out where we can go check out Kings of LA and what other projects they're working on. All that and more, you are listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm bad. Where you wanna go, you can't get no higher. No, 'cause love don't get no higher than this. No. Grind, boy, I grind when I pull up to change your mind.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Over 42 million Americans are under heat warnings this week. Extreme heat is already hitting the southwestern states, including California and Arizona, and the dangerous conditions are only expected to get worse. In Texas, a new state law passed this year bars homeowners associations from excluding renters who receive federal assistance paying their rent. The Providence Homeowners Association last year barred landlords from renting to Section 8 tenants. Most of the neighborhood Section 8 renters were black, so critics saw the rule as racial discrimination. Wall Street is closing higher as investors brace for the start of second quarter earnings season. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 209 points at 33,944. The S&P 500 added 10 points to 4409, and the Nasdaq rose 24 points to 13,685. That's the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
If you're a late-night snacker, listen up. Buffalo Wild Wings created a menu of late-night food and drinks starting at $4, 10 till close, full of tasty apps and ice-cold beer to wash it all down. Limited time at participating locations. Offers, days, and times may vary. Drink responsibly. Void where prohibited. Tax and fees extra.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hey LA, are you feeling the heat? LA DWP has rebates up to $225 on new air conditioners to help you beat the heat and save money. Plus, you can sign up for Level Pay to get predictable monthly bills for easy budgeting. Stay cool. Visit ladwp.com/COOL-LA. That's ladwp.com/COOL-LA.
Where are we on the lineup?
It's official. Avery is producing Main Street Music Days.
We need to be ready. We're going to have lots of people. What's the status on the new sound engineer?
They need an audio technician to keep things level from sound checks to encores.
Make sure audio from one stage does not compete with another.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
I'm James Alexander, a proud member of AARP. 1967, I was 17. That spring, my friends, the Barcades, and I made Soulfinger. It was a hit. Number 3 on the charts. That summer, we became the great Otis Redding's band. First gig, the famed Apollo. That fall, we toured. That winter found me in a morgue identifying the bodies of my bandmates and Otis Redding. My music and their memories bring me joy. The Barcades, forever.
What would you call a joy that is as solemn as it is sweet and knows no bounds? A joy that's beautifully rooted in soul and resilience. This is Black joy, a joy that reflects pride and honor despite every challenge. AARP believes the power of Black joy is limitless, and we celebrate this joy supreme. Join us in celebrating Black joy at aarp.org/blackcommunity.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically Black university. Congratulations, South LA, and congratulations to the Dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Wanted me, I wish I knew. I wish I knew you wanted me. I wish I knew. I wish I knew you wanted me. What you do, what you do. Made a move, could have made a move.
Welcome forward, VIPs. You are vibing right now with RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. I am joined tonight by my guest, filmmaker, creative extraordinaire, Van Elder, as well as actor and creative and filmmaker, William L. Johnson. Now, before we came forward, we were discussing the difference between working on stage in plays and working on set in TV and film. So, William, you were saying that there's a difference for you as far as, I would imagine, because you have to learn all of the dialogue with the play and with I assume when you're shooting a TV show or even a film, you just have to kind of know your scenes. It might be necessarily shot out of order. You don't have to have that chronological aspect to it. Is that part of what makes it different, aside from the live feedback?
Yeah, and doing theater helps you, you know, with your performance anyway when you're doing film and TV and things of that nature. But with theater, for me, it really gives you a chance to really feel the audience more so than anything, because even though you're doing the same play every night, it's a different play every night. Right. You know, it's something different, and you have to stay engaged. You don't have to stay engaged in a film for 2 hours. You know, you just got to stay engaged for however long those 4 pages is, you know what I mean? And then you're out of it, which is cool, but to me, it's nothing like really getting your feet wet on stage.
And I would imagine because you're also an R&B singer, you perform, that you connect with audiences in a different sort of way. And like you said, you carry that with you. Right. I think, kind of off topic, but on topic, I think one of the problem with current artists is that they don't spend enough time doing live performances. Right. So that's why when you see them, it suffers because they don't have that connection with the audience, and they haven't built up those reps that you kind of had to do before the internet made everything there.
Exactly, and it's a difference. It's a big difference.
So, Van, for you, I know that you have some other projects bubbling up, but how long have you been in this industry? I know you mentioned that in Kings of LA, there's a shout out to the original 1580 K-Day, and Greg Mack, one of the originals at K-Day, is featured in this. So, like you said that it took 10 years to make this film, your dream film, come to fruition. How long were you putting in those reps, building up to even get to the point to say, I got my film coming and I want to do it my way, so I'm going to hold out until it comes to play exactly the way I envision it?
Well, oftentimes I'll say through tragedy comes creativity. I made my first film in 2002, right after 9/11. I had a near miss with 9/11, so I came back and said, you know what, I'm tired of deferring my dreams. Let me figure this out. Had no connection growing up here in LA to the industry. Didn't know how to get in. Didn't know what was going on, but I just said, let me figure this out. I have to get this done. And ironically, the process with Kings of LA took at least 10 plus years. And what heightened things for me was the pandemic. Once that, I mean, the process of us actually going into pre-production, then in production, was a few short months. Once the pandemic hit in March of 2020, we were shooting in, July, August of 2020, once the industry opened back up. And I knew from one day to the next if we weren't going to be able to complete the film, if there was going to be another mass shutdown. But I needed to get this one done, and I wasn't going to rest until I got this movie done. It was a very stressful process. You know, like I said, we didn't know if we were going to be here, let alone be able to finish the film. I lost almost 30 pounds in 1 month. Wow. And already not that big. But, yeah, it was something that needed to be done, and I'm very proud with the finished product. And I think it's a definite must-watch for everyone because there's something in it for everyone. We cover a lot of topics, a lot of relatable issues. All of the characters are people that we know. The dialogue is organic. It's too real, sometimes too real for some people, but very relatable. No one can deny that. And it's a film that everybody should watch, especially if you're from LA. And definitely if you're black, you need to watch this movie.
So Kings of LA is available. It had a theater run a few weeks back, but it's now available on video on demand, several places. Tell people where they can check it out right now. I know we mentioned Prime Video. It's on there. Vudu.
You can search Kings of LA, and all of the streaming platforms that's available on will pop up. Vudu, Amazon Prime, Redbox, iTunes. It's available also on video on demand on your cable system. You have DirecTV or Spectrum or whatever. You can search Kings of LA, video on demand, pull it up and rent it. And we also want to mention that we have another movie coming out before the end of the year called I Left My Heart in Colombia. If you enjoy Kings of LA, you'll definitely enjoy this one because it's definitely some interesting things going on. Some envelopes being pushed.
Oh yeah.
And some kind of filmmaking and storytelling that is rare and unique, especially for our folks. We definitely stepping out the box with this one.
We shot it in Colombia.
Oh, you actually went to Colombia to shoot.
Medellin.
That's big.
Not South Carolina.
Medellin, okay.
Medellin.
Whenever I hear that, you know what I immediately think of. I think of Entourage, and then obviously the real reason why we think of it, the real. Gosh, I just blanked on this. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so really quickly, I find it fascinating when I talk to independent filmmakers how you get distribution. Mm-hmm. So what is that process like to get your film on all of these platforms?
Well, distribution is very important. For the most part, you cannot get on any of these platforms without a distributor or what they call an aggregator, which is a liaison who has these connections to these platforms. The way you achieve distribution is it varies. You can attain it at film festivals if you screen your films on the film festival circuit. Distributors attend those film markets, things of that nature, or you can just submit. Or another way is you can hire a sales rep who will represent your film and, shepherd it into these companies and see if there's any interest there. Okay. So, William, for you, right? Well, for both of you, actually, we know that Thursday, right now, we're like on a day 102 maybe of the writer's strike in Hollywood. We know that Thursday is the deadline for SAG-AFTRA to make their decision if they are going to strike. How does that impact you on the independent side? It still impacts us. I'm a member of the WGA as well as the DGA, and then William is a member of SAG. So projects can come to a stall if the negotiations have not been done prior to the strike.
Even independent ones?
Well, if they're going non-union, they can still pull off some projects. But just because you're making an independent film doesn't mean that you're not a member of the union, which I am, of course, and which William is. So if you're going independent, you can get a project still done if you're not a member of the union, specifically the Writers Guild. And depending on the outcome on the SAG situation, their union as well.
So when we come forward, we'll get into more of that and more into William and Van's backstory. You're listening to RSVP on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Supreme Court rules against affirmative action. I'm Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News. The Supreme Court rules against affirmative action in the higher education admission process. Affirmative action in higher education began in the late 1960s and aimed to increase the number of Black students and students of color at colleges and universities. It has assisted in leveling the playing field for many years. Due to racism and the complicated relationship between students of color and the world of higher education, affirmative action was set in place. The recent decision comes as a shock to many, but not to everyone. In fact, in April of 2022, Pew Research Center reported that nearly 3 in 4 people in the U.S. said that race or ethnicity should not be considered in college admissions. I'm Maisha Cairo. That's your K-Black Minute News.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. Thank you for checking out RSVP VIPs. So we are talking with William L. Johnson and Bound Elder about their film Kings of LA and all things film business. William, so how are you feeling about the potential of a strike coming up and what that means for you? I mean, I know you got your R&B career, but...
Yeah. I'm not happy about it at all. I mean, you know, I have a major opinion about unions, but I'll leave that to myself. But they are pretty gangster, so that's all I'm gonna say.
So you're not feeling the representation? You think they're doing a little too much?
Well, now they're kind of in a position where they have to kind of do some right for us because there's so many things out of pocket as far as the auditioning. That process, everybody's not good at auditioning at home. Some people work better in the room. And then now this whole AI situation, you know, we got to get this thing together with these VODs like Netflix and everybody else making this content only playing once and not paying out no residuals.
And so, can snatch it off at any time.
Yeah, it is. So they need to increase the pay substantially and do that 3 more times.
How do you both feel about AI? Because, I mean, there are some benefits to it, obviously, as with most things. And I think just in looking at it at this phase, we can say that sort of no matter what they put together, it's missing the human element that comes across. But do you think in the future it's something to be feared or to be mindful of as far as, you know, directing, writing, and acting in all aspects? Because... and sorry to ask you a question and then add something else on, but I saw something interesting online as it pertains to actors, where they said they could do something like take an existing property, right, and make a character or a spinoff based off your character, AI all of that, but not have to pay you for it because it's AI and it's a new series and it can go on, but you've set the template for it. So what are your feelings about AI as far as it relates to you guys both as creatives?
There's a scary factor to it, but it's also something that we should think about embracing. I think I was resistant originally to the whole digital revolution years ago when they start dealing away with film. But AI is a whole nother beast. As long as it's regulated, I think there's some advantages there, and certainly from a filmmaker standpoint, post-production, we don't have to do ADR anymore. I'm interested in trying some of it out as long as it's, you know, like I said, regulated and it's, you know, people are compensated and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's scary too.
Yeah, they got the money. Just pay it up.
Just pay it up.
Pay the money, cut it out. Pay up.
So would you sign your rights like if you worked on a project and they said we want your AI rights to 10, 15? No.
I mean, that dollar would have to be so right. You know what I mean? They'd have to pay up, and that's what they don't want to do.
Right. Okay. So we're gonna circle back to what projects you guys have coming forward. I know you mentioned Tell me again. I know it's Colombia. Tell me the name again.
I Left My Heart in Colombia.
I Left My Heart in Colombia.
Yeah.
Can we get a little teaser of what that's about?
Well, I mean, the title itself is kind of like a double entendre. It deals with
Sounds
romance.
like love and murder.
Yeah, a little bit. I think you mentioned, did you mention The Hangover or something earlier?
I may have.
The Hangover?
No,
you said Entourage.
Entourage.
Yeah.
So it has that feel, but it goes dark too.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, get real
and
dark.
then it's a humor. It's kind of a hybrid project. Everybody gets stuck on one genre. It's a drama, thriller, comedy, or a romantic thing. It's all of those things.
It's just
all
a good
mixed
story.
up. It's a really good story. Yeah.
Okay, so William, what projects do you have coming up? Like, you got to make sure to let everybody know where we can find you.
All right.
Start with that one.
Yeah. Well, I Left My Heart in Colombia and Kings of LA, where we at right now.
Right.
The Black Hamptons will be kicking back off in August. I have a film called A Fighter's Love that'll be dropping, and another one called Cycles. And I did another film in Dallas called A Heart That Forgives too.
So you're busy. You got it in before they tried to clamp you down with this union lockdown.
That's right.
Also, you got to tell everyone where to find you in case they want to look you up
Right
to keep
on.
track of you.
Only One Brother Bill. Only the number one, BROTHABILL.
Okay.
Instagram.
And Van, where can we find you?
It's Van_Elder on Instagram and Twitter, and just Van Elder on Facebook.
Okay. So before I let you guys get out of here, I always have to ask my guests what they are watching, what they are reading that's interesting, or what they are listening to. You don't have to give all three. I would like all three, but give me what you have. We're going to start with you, Van.
No, I pass.
No, no, you don't pass. I'm going to circle back to you. You don't get to pass. You get to prolong. So, William, we are starting with you. What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to?
You know what? I was really just watching. I like animation, so it was what do you call it? Deathstroke. Deathstroke is on HBO Max. It's a superhero cartoon animation. It is deep. I got caught up in it. Didn't mean to. And I'm also watching something I just saw on. It's on Netflix. It's an African series. It's about it kind of reminds you of Fatal Attraction, but it's something else attraction.
Okay.
Fatal something else, but it's good. But it's shot out of Africa, and I really enjoy seeing, their twist on film and how they write and everything, because it's a lot different from what we do.
And their genres, how they put it together and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I like that. Listening to music.
And what music? I listen to so much.
Put us on.
Yeah, I like Omar is one of my favorite musicians. He's out of Europe though. Omar, like Fook. I don't know if everybody hip to that, but he off the chain.
On.
He off the chain with it. Just look him up.
Okay.
There's nothing like this. That's one of his main hits. If you look that up, everything will pop up. If you want some real soul music, you check him out.
So if people want to hear your other side, your R&B side, how can they tap into that?
Oh yeah, you can go to YouTube and check out some of my music videos. William L. Johnson on YouTube.
Okay, all right, Van, you're not escaping this. What have you watched recently? It doesn't have to be like last week. Just recently that you're like, okay, I'm not mad at that.
Recently, a couple docs. I watched the American Gladiators doc on Netflix, and then I also watched the Wham doc, George Michael.
Okay,
Wham.
I want to check that out. That's on Netflix, right?
And that cloning, I did watch that cloning, the cloning king, the dude cloning animals and people. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, see, we're gonna talk about clones or body
Watch that.
doubles and
Watch
stuff.
that.
Watch that. It's going. Here's my thing with that. They are cloning food. I feel a way about that. I understand maybe
They've
you're
been
trying
doing
to.
it.
I know, but I don't. I feel like it needs to be clearly labeled. I need to have a choice on if I am eating seeded and cloned, lab-grown vegetables and animals and so have you. I've read that they're gonna, they've just passed a law that there is going to be
fake
meat,
fake
yeah,
turkey,
like
fake steak,
yeah, that they're going to be putting in grocery stores, and I mean it'll be labeled, but will you be paying attention?
Will it be labeled?
Will it be labeled? That's what
They
I'm
lie
saying.
to us all the time.
Right, but here's my thing, and everyone's like, go vegan, it's healthier, it's fresher. If you're not growing those vegetables
right.
yourself,
You in bad shape.
is it any fresher? Like, we really don't know. We're just kind of messed up in the game and out here taking chances.
Mm-hmm.
But so you're a doc guy. Okay.
Yeah.
The Wham documentary, I really have to check that out because obviously I'm a child of my era, and I remember when Wham came out and you were like, that's a pretty man as far as George Michael. And it was never said what he was into. He was presented as straight, but you kind of got vibes. You didn't know, but
we didn't care.
We didn't care. But
Right.
I mean, and that was going to be
Yeah.
my point.
Right.
But we didn't really care. His
No.
music was good. We knew. Obviously, he had a connection to soul music. Careless Whispers is still one of the best,
Oh,
like
yeah.
slow songs out there. The saxophone on that. Come on, man. That's just a little side, really quickly. But I want to thank you both for taking the time to come and chat with me. Tell us one more time where we can check out Kings of LA if you are into, stories that are based in Los Angeles with relatable characters that give you a sort of, dare I say, like, I want to say,
You gotta watch it.
dystopian.
Yeah.
Like,
You
I mean, I
gotta
don't want
watch
to
it.
describe it. You got to see it. But
It's not just the LA movie either. A lot of the topics,
Right. There's a
topics
lot
and
going
subject
on. You
matter
make sure you watch it.
transcends. Yeah.
I definitely will check it out. I got Amazon Prime, so I'm going to go check out Prime tonight.
So you can check it out on Prime, Vudu, Redbox, iTunes, on video on demand on your cable network, DirecTV, Spectrum. Just search Kings of LA. Or and that's enough. And probably a couple more platforms is out, but you can either rent it or purchase it. I suggest purchase it because it's one of those movies. I don't get tired of watching it, and I'm an artist, and sometimes we just like to, execute our work and just put it out there for the world. But this is one of the movies that I actually like to go back to and just watch certain scenes. A lot of signature scenes, a lot of memorable scenes and quotables in the movie. So I'm not just saying that.
Support indie filmmakers. When we come forward, we will wrap up with them. Next hour, we are going to get into Usher, Kiki's Revenge, Dion signing with Nike, all that and more. You're listening to RSVP on KBLA Talk 1580.
All we need is love. All we need is love. All we need is love. All we need is love and trust and time. All we need is time. The rhythm of the hours rolling by together brings my paradise inside. Much more than I can measure. All of us together, and all we need to find is
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the